this is Unit 4, Assignment 5, 2-point perspective. In this assignment, we're going to take the principles of 1-point perspective that you learned and apply them now to a 2-point perspective project. The materials that you're going to use are pencils, drawing pencils. I have a variety of 4B pencils here, and the reason I'm using those is to make it dark enough so that you can see it. You can do this with a regular 2B pencil if you choose to. I have an 18-inch ruler, an eraser, and 12 by 18 paper. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to draw a horizon line. In the 1-point perspective, you drew it right in the middle of the page. In the 2-point perspective, I want you to move it up a little bit because we're going to have more activity going on at the bottom of the page than we are at the top of the page. So one of the things that's very important during this assignment is to make sure that your lines are straight. So they either need to be straight across, and really the only two types of lines that you're going to have are lines that are straight up and down or perpendicular to the bottom of your page, or lines that go to the vanishing points. In this assignment, we're going to do a 2-point perspective drawing. So you are going to have 2 vanishing points. Now I'm making this dark. Again, I can't emphasize enough that during the course of your drawing that you do the first part of this very lightly because you're going to end up erasing a lot of lines. So I have 1 vanishing point and I've indicated it with an X on this side and a vanishing point that I've indicated with an X on that side. The first thing we're going to do is to put in our intersection. So I'm lining up with the vanishing point. I have the first part of the intersection. And the second part of the intersection. Kind of lost my ruler there for a minute. Always make sure that it's lined up right in the middle of that X. First part of the intersection. And you notice I'm making the road, a little bit wide because I'm going to have a lot of activity, a lot of buildings on this, and I have to have some space in between the buildings. Okay, so there's my intersection. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to erase some of these lines so that you can see how this looks a little bit more like an intersection. If you wanted to, you could go back and make these a crosswalk, or you're going to be adding all kinds of detail in here that is going to come in at a later date. But you can see how, because I drew these very darkly, it's kind of hard to get rid of all the pencil lines. Okay, the first building that I'm going to draw is this corner building right here. So right where these 2 lines intersect, I'm going to start with my very first building. Remember that my lines are either straight up and down, which are perpendicular to the bottom of the page, or they go to the vanishing point. So that's the first line, straight up and down. I'm going to make my next line go to the vanishing point. This is the left side of my building, going to the right side of my building, to the right vanishing point. All right, here's where people make a mistake. They connect this line. It has to go straight up and down. So it's going to go straight up and down, not to the vanishing point. Same thing with this line. It doesn't go this way. It goes absolutely straight up and down. If you have a T-square at home, that's actually even better to help get the lines straight up and down. So now what I would do is erase the vanishing point inside the building, or the horizon line, I'm sorry, inside the building so that you don't see that line anymore. Okay, there's my first building. Now you can see that you're going to be erasing lines as you go. Again, you want to make these lines really light. Okay, I want to give some visual interest to my cityscape, so I'm going to make buildings that are different shapes and sizes. So this building is going to go right next to that one. I start my first corner as a straight up and down line. I'm going to make this building kind of skinny. Pencil's having a little bit of problem there. Straight up and down. Okay, this side I'm going to make this building go behind this other building quite a ways. You never want to, I wouldn't want to end this building right here because visually that gets very confusing. So never end or start another building on the same line as a building next to it. Okay, so there's my building that's next to this one. I'm going to erase my horizon line on the inside so that you can't see that anymore, because we don't want that to be transparent. Now there's one more thing about this building that needs to be corrected. It looks like the building comes down to the street right here and right here. But there's actually space in between these two buildings, so we have to put an alley in there. So remember, the lines are going to the vanishing point or straight up and down. So there's the alley that gives dimension between these two buildings. I'm going to erase this little line, and there's my two buildings. I'm going to turn this ruler over because it actually gets hung up on this. So my next building I'm going to make even taller. Because this is a cityscape and this is a skyscraper. I'm going to make this one go over here. Remember, I don't want to end it on the same line, so I want it over just slightly. And I'm going to go straight up and down. Now I'm going to continue adding some buildings here so that you can see the development of this part of the cityscape. Now I'm going to add another road back here, just for interest. So I'm lined up with my vanishing point on the left-hand side, and I'm going to draw my road through here. Okay, so I have now several buildings that are just on this side of my intersection. And you can see why you would want to draw lightly because I've erased a lot of lines on here. One thing I want to point out is, here's your horizon line. You notice that the buildings that are closest to the horizon in terms of distance, from the top line to where the horizon line would be, the roof is flat. As the building gets higher and higher, the roof has more of a pitch to it. So your building is going up. It's getting higher and higher and higher. These are, because the top of the roof on these is above this horizon line, these are called above eye level. So these are, because the horizon line is eye level, these are above eye level. Okay? That's the end of part 1. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buildings above eye level. That's what you need to do. So you need to draw 8 buildings above eye level.